Welcome to Trail Mix, a fresh blend of what's happening at Rowan-Cabarrus Community College and in the world of higher education. It's everything you need to keep you informed, inspired, and as always, navigating forward. When you walk onto a Rowan-Cabarrus campus, a lot is happening behind the scenes to make sure that environment is safe for students, for employees, and for the public. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on some of the upgrades, training initiatives, and community programs that make up the college's approach to campus safety. Welcome to Trail Mix. I'm your host, Carter Wingfield, and I'm joined by two members of the campus health, safety, and security team, Jeff Insley and Dean Vernon. Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
So, Jeff, what is your role here at the college?
I get to serve as the Director of Campus Health, Safety, and Security and supervise our security staff, our occupational safety, OSHA inspections, OSHA requirements, those kind of things.
And we have 5 campuses, so this covers
all 5.
All 5. Great. And Dean, what about you?
And I'm assigned to our College Station campus, which houses our cosmetology school. And this fall, we're adding our new massage therapy program. So I have those 2 tracks at my campus.
You're the campus safety coordinator?
I am for College Station.
Does each campus have its own campus safety coordinator?
Yes, we have 5 that are assigned day shift.
Okay.
And then we have 4 that are assigned full-time in the evening. And then we have several part-time that will fill in as needed and when we have other additional things going on campus.
So there's always somebody on campus.
Always somebody there.
Great. So, Jeff, for someone that hasn't had a reason to interact with campus safety and security department directly, what does the department do day to day? And what does it mean for Rowan-Cabarrus to take the, quote, all hazards approach to campus safety?
For the campus safety coordinators, their major role is to the safety and overall security of our students, faculty, staff, to be seen, to be present, to answer questions, to make themselves available, to address needs. The other thing that they look at is, if there's a medical call, they respond to ensure that we either call 911 so that we have EMS en route, or if it's some basic bandaging, basic first aid we can do. And then looking at what caused the incident, and they make their recommendation to me, and then I forward it up to either HR or to Mr. Chamberlain that will look at facilities and see if there are improvements that can be made. The big thing is that relationship is getting them to relate and that the students know they have someone to come talk to.
Right.
The
I
other
would
thing,
imagine a lot of that is built on trust.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of that is, just the basic things. And the things that Dean can probably allude to as well that he does at College Station builds that trust. Yeah. And then that way they will feel more comfortable coming to Dean and saying, hey, I've had this problem, or hey, who can I talk to because this is going on? So those relationships that help us build on keeping our folks safe. The other part, we plan for everything. We look for, is there a possible active threat, or is there an incident that could occur that may cause somebody harm? We plan for everything. And then hopefully we never have to use it or to address it.
Yeah, it's one of those things you plan for. You hope that's all you're ever doing is planning.
Right.
Yeah. Jeff, has the college been investing in security upgrades?
Yes, I have.
And I know we probably can't go too far into the details, but are there any improvements that we can share?
A couple that we're really proud of. We have some good systems in place. Some of them are beginning to show their age. For example, our AEDs, we're going to start replacing those with upgraded versions. The other is our radio system. Our radio system is getting a little old, and actually that project is ongoing now, where the radios will be upgraded on all 5 campuses. A little dispatch center will be set up in our office.
Nice.
So there's some things that are there for us. The other big piece that's a security upgrade for me is the fact that we'll be doing some scenario-based training that will be forthcoming that I think will get us prepared, and so that way we identify things we need to work on now so that we can upgrade later.
Is there anything that students, employees, visitors should know about how the campus environment has changed over the years?
Yeah, I think the big part of that, Carter, is just communicating with our coordinators, coordinating with the staff. I was a student here in the 80s. Things were different. Back then, I remember one of the big things was parking. Because we parked down Rowan-Tech Way on both sides of the road. You had one little pathway that came through that allowed you to get down to N106, or at that time, Building 600. But the big thing for us is the fact, security is in our title, but security is not me, it's not Dean, it's us. It's all of us together. And that building of relationships with the coordinators and the students and the staff, that communication that comes around really helps us address things when it's going on and not finding out about it 3-4 weeks later, which makes it difficult to deal with.
I don't think I knew that you were a student here.
I was. My liberal art degree came
Nice.
from here.
Very nice. Yeah, the 80s weren't that long ago.
Thank you.
So, Dean, as a safety coordinator, what does your role look like on a typical day, and how does it connect to that broader safety infrastructure that Jeff just talked about?
So I'll start with what Jeff previously mentioned about relationships. I'm a father of 3 children. My middle child is a daughter. And again, with cosmetology, primarily female students on campus, I kind of look at them as, my family and a daughter. And so it leads you into the relationship part that Jeff was talking about. April 1st of 2022 is when I started full-time there at College Station. So I just hit my 4-year mark. I can tell you when I started to where we are now, been able to build that trust and relationship with my students. Everything from they're comfortable coming to me about a personal problem or they need advice, even things related to the college, questions about curriculum and the counselor and those types of things. And I think that's really important because one of the things that I've tried to stress to them is if they have a situation on campus where they're uncomfortable, say they come in the parking lot and there's someone out there that they're not familiar with, they're getting that information to me so I can, be available to look into it and address it. So on a daily basis, I really strive to make sure that they feel like they're in a comfortable environment. I'm constantly walking around. I'm not sitting in an office all day. I'm not looking at our camera system all day. I'm out and about, and that includes, within the building, out in the parking lot, in the rear. One of the things that makes them feel comfortable too is when the students are leaving campus, I'm always outside in the parking lot. And I'm keeping an eye on them. And by doing that, when they come to campus in those first couple of days, they typically will park in the same area or same place. So this may be trivial to other people, but I'm able to see what cars they drive and where they park and those types of things. One of the things I'm proud of, last year, I'm on our care team with the college, and Dr. Bryson is on that team with me. And we have a food pantry here at North Campus and at South. And I had got put on the team within the first 6 months. I had advocated, could we try one at College Station? And I'm happy to say, fast forward with Dr. Bryson's hard work and grant writing, I manage and run our food pantry.
At College Station?
Yes, sir.
That's
yes.
Great.
So that's been really neat and special to see the needs being met, of the students. And on a human element side that I'm probably proudest of the most, the students that don't need assistance are coming to me and say, what can we donate?
Oh, that's
what
awesome.
items can we bring that time? So I think, it's the culture that's there and trying to let them know that, people are here and we care about you and want to keep you safe.
I've seen that too across all the campuses. Our campus safety coordinators and everybody in your department, Jeff, is very visible. They're always walking around, and not in like an intimidating way by any means. Like they're out there, they're asking questions like, how are you doing? They're always assisting with all kinds of miscellaneous tasks that they don't have to. They're very service oriented.
And I appreciate the fact, too, from faculty and staff that, if they have a question or they wonder why, when I first started as director, they weren't as quick to come to me or come to a coordinator. But I've seen that change to where they're comfortable reaching out and go, why are they always walking around here? Or why are they doing this? Going back to that communication piece, to communicate why.
Yeah.
And this is why it's doing it. It's not the fact that, I'm watching this one, I'm watching it. No, it's out here so that way we see what's going on around us and then we know what's happening for the most part.
And know when something looks amiss.
Right.
Dean, when it comes to preparing faculty and staff while we're talking about them, when it comes to preparing them for emergency situations, does the college offer any specific training? And if so, what does that training look like?
In terms of training selection, that's under Jeff's umbrella, so to speak. But we meet biweekly as a coordinator safety group, and Jeff is always wanting input from us on some of the things that we can do. What are things that we're hearing at each of our campuses? And for me, I'm unique in my building because it is the smallest campus that we have. And I have an advantage when we're talking about the relationship piece, the previous question. I have more close contact and interaction with my students than the other coordinators do. I mean, you can't compare College Station to North or South, but my background in law enforcement, I retired from Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office, retired as a supervisor over our school resource officer division. So my last 14 years, I was in the Cabarrus County school system from the sheriff's office side, and then I supervised. So that's where my mindset is. Specifically at my campus, my instructors have come to me, for training. One of the things that comes to mind, Jeff and I did a self-defense situational awareness presentation for an hour, but we focused on our female population. And we did it through the SGA, and, we had lunch provided from Chick-fil-A. We were worried that we would get 7 or 8. We had 35.
Wow. Really?
And we literally couldn't hold anymore.
Yeah.
And so that was awesome because it was just one of those things where Jeff and I together were able to teach a class to my students. Just the feedback from that was really well perceived.
What are some of the other trainings that y'all offer?
Obviously, we have AED and CPR training.
Where you can learn how to use AEDs, where they're located.
Yes, and Jeff is actually a certified instructor for that. So we just recertified as our group, and Jeff took care of that. The other thing that comes to mind, our Summer Institute in May, when we have that break, when classes are done, when we're progressing towards graduation. Jeff, 3 years ago, really took a vested interest in getting us involved. And that was probably, in my opinion, that was our first opportunity to really have some exposure to other staff and faculty.
For those listening to Summer Institute, it's a week-long session for faculty and staff where they can take professional development courses hosted by different departments around campus. And y'all host a couple courses each year.
Yes, we do. And Jeff came to me and specifically said, can you put together a summer weather hazard preparedness presentation? So, on the outside looking in, a lot of it is just common sense in terms of some of the things that I had talked about. For example, if you have a swimming pool at home, reminding whoever's living in the home, they need to know how to swim.
For sure, yeah.
Bringing back in CPR.
Yeah.
Being certified with that. And of course, we touched base on tornadoes and hurricanes and those types of things.
I've noticed new signage going up for weather preparedness.
Yeah, this is all part of our BERA program. It's identifying those areas in each of our buildings. We actually walked all 27, 28 buildings on 5 campuses with an architect to identify those areas that if there is a threat of severe weather, we have an area where we can go and hopefully ride out the weather and then return back to class. This has been an ongoing project because, again, trying to find the areas that were the best of what we could provide, and then getting the signage made to show people where they are. Because that was, when I first took over as director, that was a big thing. Severe weather was starting to occur more here in this area. So this was one of our focuses to get that done. And if I can just add on the training part, Dean brought up a good point is, when we meet, coordinators will say, hey, need a situational awareness. We need to talk to these folks, let them know what's going on, kind of thing. Because I get asked sometimes, well, where's a list of all the training that y'all do? It's whatever you want to create. We did the thing there at College Station. The cosmetologists, a lot of them, they're going to be owning their own business. So it's not a thing just while they're in school. This is something they can take with them when they start on the job.
Absolutely.
The health programs, the radiology program, the nursing programs have brought us in to talk about active threats, how they can deal with those combative patients that come into the ER. Benny Cook, who actually hired me here, used to say that we had 500 years experience. Well, I can now boast that we're pushing over almost 1,000 years of experience just of the people that we have.
Yeah.
And that's a wealth to bring. Active threat, situational awareness, and some other things.
So you've also been working on coordinator and marketing training as part of your safety initiatives. What does that look like?
Being retired law enforcement, I still like to read the after-action reports just to see after an event occurs what they found, and then sort of matching it then to us.
From other colleges, institutions?
From other colleges, other cities, other places that have had an incident. And then when folks come in to do an after-action review where they look how they responded, are there things they could have done better? Or are there things that they did really good that maybe we need to duplicate here?
Right.
Over the last 4 or 5 that I've read, one of the big things has been the notification, the quickness within getting the information out. Well, with our partnership with marketing, that's one of the things that you all do. So we've got a scenario-based training with the coordinators and marketing coming up where we're going to test that. We're going to see how quick that we can get a message out. And did it work? Or can we do it better? And then practice it. Because again, if you don't practice it, you lose it.
Right. And you can read it all day long. But when it comes time to actually executing it, it's different.
And 2, it's like I was in training, a couple of weeks ago, all week. Well, who takes my role? I have an assistant director, James Bailey, 30 plus years experience in law enforcement, in training and in teaching that can step right in. So it's like the old oatmeal principle. You spoon me out, smooths right over. We can continue. And I think that's important. And then for us to practice that when certain people aren't around, I think it's important too.
I've never heard that analogy.
Yeah, I had a chief one time that quickly informed me about the oatmeal principle. That
Oh, won't think of anything else every time I have oatmeal now.
yes,
Look how
yes.
smooth that top was. So for a faculty or staff member that's listening right now, they're interested in some of this training. What's the best way for them to go about finding some of these classes or making themselves better prepared?
Like Dean said, when some of his students and instructors, I think both, came and said, "Hey, can we get and then we put it together. The piece for health services, we put that together based on experience, what we've seen in the field, and then also looking at Atrium Health, at Novant Health, and getting some input from them on what they are teaching to new employees so that we don't contradict it. And sort of put that together for them and give them little things that they can practice and knowing what to do. We can do bloodborne pathogen training now. Again, because it's something that we come in contact with, not frequently, but we come in contact with, we need to be aware of. The CPR AED, again, not just for here, but for outside of here. I just came from a conference where they have given us an app that I have on my phone. And one of the reasons they created the app was the young man's son was playing football. It was a brand new school. They had just moved in it. Young man had a cardiac episode on the field while they were at practice. The AED was less than 200 yards away from them. They weren't aware of it. Unfortunately, didn't end well. This man and his wife said this would not happen again. So there's a free app, and I'll be doing a thing to put out in this week for folks to have.
Yeah, that's our weekly newsletter that goes out to faculty and staff.
So when you go anywhere, when you come here, you'll be able to pull up the app, and it will tell you in each building where the AED is. And then we'll have a picture attached to it so that you'll know you're close. So it'll be not just the AED,
right?
But you'll see a wall. And you'll notice there are things there to help you identify where it is.
Some context.
So, but
that's incredible.
It's those kind of things that we can do. I am blessed. Went to Dean, I need a thing for severe weather. Too sweet. It was done. But we have several of the coordinators have that previous experience that can pull and put that together.
Yeah.
So while we don't have an exact list, if you come to us, if we can't do it, we'll find someone.
That's awesome.
If you don't mind, I was going to jump in on the first part of your question about for faculty and staff viewing what's the most important thing they can do to be prepared. Situational awareness. In Jeff's world, in my world, any first responder, you're paying attention to the moment where you are, what is going on, and what is around you. That's critical for students and staff, because campus safety starts with everyone first. It's not just my division's responsibility. Yes, we're tasked with that, and that's our main role and focus. But when you have faculty and staff, I mentioned earlier about creatures of habit. They like to park in certain areas. So what's good about that is you become very familiar with cars that are around you, who usually parks near you, people that are typically walking in and out, carrying that into the building when you go down certain hallways. And so that's leading me to say, our students and faculty and staff are the best ones that know what seems right here and what is not, and then speaking up on that.
Well, I think, too, just being more aware of that, there's something, I can't remember the exact name of what this is called. Maybe y'all can, but when you see something that looks odd, you immediately start coming with excuses of why that's not actually odd. Or you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of it. But you, in your own mind, you justify it. You rationalize that it's not anything. It's not okay. It'd be all right.
Right. That's probably whatever random excuse you give yourself. But that kind of leads me to the next thing I want to talk about, the See Something, Say Something initiative that the college actively promotes. For someone who hasn't heard of that, which I've heard it quite a bit, so I think it's probably good that people are talking about it more. But what is it, and why does it matter in a community college environment specifically?
The only way you can address or fix something is if you know about it. And again, we're limited on how much space we can cover in a particular time. But if we look at it not as a me or just a coordinator role, but an us piece, now we've multiplied the number of eyes that are
talking
out there
about
seeing something.
Not just people on your team, but
college staff, students. And I have really been impressed this year, I think, again, because of running things in this week and some of the little marketing pieces that we have that we've put out anywhere. You see something, say something, and it allows them to hit a QR code, allows them to submit it. Even though they don't call us, we get notified of it. But it seems like, particularly this last semester, those have increased. Staff have called 3 times, particularly at North, of people that were in the parking lot. They're not waiting until they get down the street or till they get home. They're getting in their car after being either approached or seeing them and then calling, which then gives us an opportunity. So here at North, because we have the campus resource officers and a coordinator. Well, the coordinator can be watching the camera as Sean goes out in the parking lot. Oh, you're getting close. It's that next car down, or the guy just bent down behind the car. So he can actually work Sean into where this person's at so they can have a chat with them and see what they're doing. Then the next thing was 2 students that were doing it. 2 students that were approached here in the parking lot or someone begging for money from the hotel across the street. But they called right then, which allowed Sean and I to walk out and find the people that were trying to get money because they didn't have enough to pay for the rent at the hotel. Yeah. The other that I appreciate was cybersecurity. That's really not us, but we partner with IT. So when 2 students put in that they'd gotten these funny sounding emails on their student account, I was able to forward it over to IT. Kurt looked at it. Yes, that's a problem. He was able to pull it so it didn't have a negative impact on them or didn't infect our system. And then the other piece that I want to try to make sure of when we get that or we get those calls is I reach back out to those folk or I email them back. Appreciate you, first off, thanking them for seeing it and telling us, and then letting them know what we found. So I don't want them to think that they're calling or they're emailing us and that we just ignore it. We take it serious. And again, we appreciate it because that's part of that, us looking out for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just thought of an incident. So last month I was in my care team meeting. We meet every Monday. And Jeff, myself, and some department heads, vice presidents of college, we're on an initial email list. So if faculty does a concerning behavior report, it immediately comes in. While we were in our meeting, I look down at my email because it alerts live. And I see that a faculty person had a concerning situation on their campus. I immediately picked the phone up and I called our coordinator that was on that campus. Mm-hmm. And within a minute or less, we had that coordinator on location where they needed to go, and we were able to resolve that fairly quickly. So that's just one example that came to mind that, some of these steps that we have in place, they do work.
Yeah.
But like Jeff said earlier, if the information is not shared, it's not brought to someone's attention, then we can't address it.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest lesson out of that is when it doesn't feel right, it's not feeling right for a reason.
Right.
And if we get multiple reports and nothing comes out, that's fine, because then it lets us know that people are engaged in campus and they're concerned and they see something they're not comfortable with, and then get that information to my team.
And you mentioned the emails and we mentioned the QR codes, but if you don't have the QR code, you see something out there. Is there a number that we can call?
704-216-3900.
3900. So that's a number. If you're listening now, you spend a lot of time on campus, go ahead and save that phone number.
Absolutely.
And then if you want, you will get a list of, we have the 5 numbers for the different campuses. And then we also have the Atrium Crisis Hotline that you can reach from there. Pretty much dial that number. And when it goes to the PIC code, go ahead and hit 1. It's going to take you right to the coordinator or the deputy that's working, or both.
These are for non-emergency situations. Still have 911.
Don't underestimate 911, particularly in the medical issue that's going on. Go ahead and get EMS started, then get us so we can get there to stand by, and then we can talk to them on their way in, sort of let them know what they have when they get there.
Yeah.
Carter, can I add to that what Jeff just said? Because it's going back to us listening to faculty and staff. One of the things that Jeff and I were in a care team meeting, and he was in a cabinet meeting, and one of the things that had come across was faculty and staff wanted to be able to get in touch with our group in real time. Because one of the things I said earlier is I don't sit in my office.
Yeah, waiting for emails. The
email or the phone to ring. So we're out patrolling the campus, the hallways, the parking lots. So give credit to Jeff because he pushed it and advocated for it. But this whole phone tree system that we have now, I have a phone that's mine. So anybody can get me no matter where I'm at. I don't
going through that phone tree, going through that 3900.
Yeah. And so when you hit that number and then you have your selections, whatever campus you need to talk to someone about, it's going to either come to one of us as a coordinator, or Jeff even was able to get phones for our off-duty officers from Rowan County Sheriff's Office and Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office. But that all came into existence because faculty and staff shared that concern, and then Jeff took it and ran with it, and
put it into practice.
Now it became into fruition.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel like that goes back to what we were talking about at the very beginning with the relationships that y'all forge with the different campuses. Like, that's why you walk around. That's why you're visible on campus, so that people know who you are and they know, like, okay, if something happens, Dean's who I got to go get a hold of.
That's so good. And one of the things that came to mind, I don't want to come across for sharing it, but it was a compliment paid to me. But right after graduation, Dusty Sane had come to our debriefing. He said, Dean, I know you've always been involved and had that relationship with your students, because Jeff and I were assigned at the stage. So I was on the side of the stage where the students were walking up the steps to get introduced. So when the cosmetology students came, not all of them, but a lot of them, either I shook their hand, they wanted to have a hug, and so, that just really stuck out to Dusty.
Awesome.
To again, it's having that personal relationship where they know that there's people here that care about them,
Yeah, and then you get to watch them achieve one of their biggest moments in their life.
And proud of them, just like they're my own children.
So for anyone listening who feels safer knowing this team is here, but also wants to know they have a role to keep this campus safe, what would you say to them?
Reach out. Currently, we do have an emergency management committee, which is made up of representatives from every department, the one on campus. The one thing, I think policy gives it a 2-year term. So we try to rotate people on and off. But then we try to meet and make them feel inclusive, so that's also a voice. So when we did the new emergency operation plan, that it had been completely redrafted and updated, they were able to push it out too, that it's there.
Yeah.
That it is online. It's there. The emergency handbook for faculty and staff was updated, and that it's online for the folks to pick up. We will be doing and adding to a safety committee, which is, again, one thing that falls under this position. When we'll look at different things, incidents that occur on campus, are there things that we could do better? Are there training things that we could do? Falls, ladder safety. We do a class, particularly for facilities, because they're mainly the ones that use ladders, how to properly use one, to do ladder inspections, those kind of things. But it gives them an opportunity to see what's going on, that it's not just a lot of talk, it's actually do. And I hope, Carter, there have been things. I'm going on my 5th year here. I guess my 3rd as director. But when faculty and staff bring things to our attention, we assess and look, can we do it better? Do we need to make changes? And we make them, because if it's for the good and safety of all, then we do that. We put them in play. And I hope that people have found that. But don't feel afraid to reach out. I am very blessed with the coordinators that I have. And if you talk to Dean, then you've talked to me, because as soon as you get done talking to Dean, I know what Dean's going to do. He's going to reach out. Hey, boss, this is what I just did. This is what we're going to do. It's not, hey, boss, this is what they came to. What you want me to do? It's not, this is what I think we ought to do, or this is what we're going to do, which is a big thing.
Yeah.
Or as a supervisor, you love it.
Yeah.
You love it.
Absolutely. Empowered.
Yes.
Well, thank both of y'all for being on here today and walking us through a little bit of what campus safety and security looks like, and how we're growing and doing our best to be seen and to be visible and to build those relationships, because like y'all said, it's campus safety is a shared responsibility. So if you don't have those relationships, you don't have that trust, that's where the breakdowns start to
You're exactly.
happen.
It makes things difficult when it doesn't need to be.
So I just want to reinforce for listeners that if you see something that just doesn't feel right, don't try to rationalize it in your head. Play it safe. Contact one of y'all. For non-life-threatening emergencies on campus, we've got the 704-216-3900 number. Save that in your phone. Also, we've got the QR codes on cards all around campus, so you can grab one of those. And then obviously for life-threatening situations, always call 911. So you can also learn more about the campus health, safety, and security at Rowan-Cabarrus, including training resources, emergencies procedures, how to report a concern. That website is www.rccc.edu/safety. So you can go there for more information. So thank you all for coming on today.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us.
Thanks for listening to Trail Mix. For more stories, updates, and to learn more about how Rowan-Cabarrus Community College can help you navigate forward, visit us at www.rccc.edu. Next time on Trail Mix.
I had no expectation. I didn't even think that I would be joining any student clubs or organizations while I was here. I just envisioned taking classes, be here for a couple years, transfer out, but this journey truly has been something remarkable, and I've loved every second of it.